The weapon of this hero is a shield, which can't be used to attack. Therefore, no one wants to team up with him to fight monsters. At this time, a sexy beauty joins his team. What the hero doesn't expect is that the beauty approaches him because of the shield in his hand. Soon, the beauty sets a trap to frame the hero, making him a villain who is hunted down by others every day. To prove his innocence, the hero embarks on his journey to take revenge, deciding to make those who bullied him pay a price. Can he succeed? Like and subscribe, and let's get it revealed. Naofumi, the male protagonist of the story, is initially simply a typical college student. He doesn't have any specific interests, yet he enjoys reading fantasy books in the library. He reads a vintage fantasy book in the library on this particular day. The tale tells about a different Earth that is frequently assaulted by terrifying creatures called the waves. The inhabitants of this world summon 4 heroes who each wields a different weapon to combat the waves: a sword, a spear, a bow, and a shield. Naofumi is actually being called into the realm of the story at this very time. The locals claim that he is the shield hero and that he is holding a shield in his hand. 3 more heroes have also been called by the king of Melromark, along with Naofumi. The 4 heroes will work together to assist Melromark in fending off the approaching waves. The 4 heroes usually can't team up together, as they can't gain experience points when they fight together, so the 4 heroes must form their own teams. During the night, Naofumi and the other 3 heroes talk about Earth. Then they find out that they are from parallel universes. They are all familiar with the history of this world. However, the other 3 heroes know it from the video game, while Naofumi only knows it from the book. As the shield hero may not attack fiercely but has a great defense, the other 3 heroes are aware that he is the slowest to level up. But Naofumi is unfazed since he thinks that as long as his comrades are the ones carrying out the assault, he too may explore another world. The next day, the king brings a group of adventurers. 4 heroes will be selected by them to serve as their captains. However, none of these adventurers picks Naofumi. The shield hero is not considered to be powerful enough by them all. Naofumi is embarrassed since no one wants to be his partner despite the fact that he is the hero who needs teammates the most. A stunning mage unexpectedly declares her desire to join Naofumi's team at this point. Naofumi is touched and pleasantly delighted. The king then gives a commission to every hero, which they can spend to purchase their first set of weapons. Multi leads Naofumi to a famous blacksmith shop. Nevertheless, when Naofumi goes to purchase weapons, he learns that the only weapon he may use is the shield he is holding. After purchasing armor, Naofumi leaves the city with Multi to take on the weakest balloon monsters. While the other heroes have dispatched several balloon monsters, Naofumi takes a long time to defeat just one. Monsters that are killed leave behind resources that the hero may utilize to improve his weapon with. Following the combat of the day, Multi buys Naofumi some equipment of a higher level, and they enjoy supper at the inn. Multi invites Naofumi to drink, but he refuses since he doesn't enjoy alcohol. Naofumi goes back to his room after supper to relax, but he does not anticipate that when he wakes up, all of his possessions, including his money, have vanished. To make this situation worse, Naofumi is also taken into custody by a group of troops. Naofumi is brought in front of the king, who wants to sentence him. As it turns out, Multi claims that Naofumi broke into her room and coerced her into doing a humiliating act. Moreover, Naofumi is taken aback to see that the Spears hero is wearing his gear. The Spears hero informs Naofumi that Multi gave him these, and it appears that Multi is the same person who took Naofumi's belongings. Afterward, Naofumi understands that Multi tricked him in order to frame him. No one thinks Naofumi has been wronged at this stage. Naofumi wants to leave this world so badly that he even considers going back to Earth. Naofumi must travel alone until he completes the assignment of destroying the waves, since doing so is the only way to return to Earth. Normally, the king ought to imprison Naofumi, but he also needs Naofumi to help him battle the waves. Thus, the king simply informs the entire nation that the shield hero is a scumbag. Naofumi has to set out alone to fight Warcraft to collect materials. Now that the whole Melromark populace despises Naofumi, which makes him furious. But despite this, he doesn't feel lost. He doesn't have to worry about his reputation while dealing because everyone thinks he's filthy. Naofumi will beat up any businessmen who attempt to cheat him before giving him what he deserves. Naofumi has several unique advantages as a shield hero while having a relatively poor attack strength. Naofumi is talented in auxiliary abilities like casting and gathering in addition to defense. Naofumi will also use certain balloon monsters as weapons to help him attack. This is observed by a slave trader, who suggests Naofumi purchase a slave. Naofumi initially didn't want them because he has recently been deceived by a teammate. But, he makes the decision to purchase a slave as a partner after learning that slaves cannot betray their owners. Naofumi can only afford the weakest slaves. Naofumi ultimately settles on a demi-human female from the Raccoon clan. Each slave has a mystical tattoo on their body that allows the master to command them and prevents them from ever betraying the master. Raphtalia, a demi-human girl, is terrified of Naofumi since her former owner was vicious and frequently abused her. But Naofumi buys Raphtalia and gives her decent care. Naofumi provides Raphtalia with supplies and weapons while also teaching her combat skills. Only when Raphtalia is too afraid to fight will Naofumi use orders to get her to fight with all her strength. Naofumi and Raphtalia share the same dish when they eat. Raphtalia is shocked to watch her master have the same meal for the first time as a slave. Raphtalia finds out later that Naofumi is the shield hero. Raphtalia heard her parents explain that the shield hero is a hero who treats demi-humans properly, despite the fact that others in Melromark discriminate against them. Naofumi will never see her parents again because they passed away. At night, Raphtalia occasionally dreams of her parents being killed, and when she wakes up crying, Naofumi hugs and comforts her. Raphtalia gains fighting experience under Naofumi's guidance, and both she and Naofumi level up. The shield in Naofumi's hand will instantly change into a new shield and provide new skills as his level rises, allowing him to use different kinds of shields. Naofumi then takes Raphtalia on a new adventure in a mine filled with creatures. Raphtalia's parents were slaughtered by canine-like beasts before the waves arrived. They come upon the canine-shaped beast in the mine once more on this day. Initially, Naofumi could only use his body to fend off the canine-like beast's attacks since Raphtalia was too terrified to engage in combat with them. Raphtalia musters the courage to destroy the canine-like beasts with Naofumi's support. After this, she overcomes her inner fears and becomes stronger. The demi-human clan is known for its members' rapid growth as they level up. Raphtalia eventually transforms from a little child to a stunning young woman. Naofumi and Raphtalia put forth a lot of effort during this period to take on assignments and earn a lot of money. Naofumi switches to a great set of gear, and although it makes him a bit like a barbarian, the attributes of the equipment are very good. The four heroes must get together on this day and travel together from the capital to the location where the waves congregate. All four heroes are transported close to a settlement a short while later. Several monsters have descended from the sky to assault the general residence as the sky has turned blood red. Every time a boss appears among the waves, the four heroes must beat the boss in order to stop the waves. No one comes to the help of the villagers while the other heroes and kingdom armies proceed to battle the boss. Only Naofumi is left to defend the people in the end. The people subsequently learns that the shield hero is not an infamous scumbag. In order to fight monsters, Naofumi baits them to climb the watchtower before setting it on fire. As they observe Naofumi defending the villagers, several soldiers who are marching to the battlefield decide to remain behind and assist him. The monster is eventually vanquished and the waves are gone thanks to the other heroes. The majority of the village's residents remain alive because of Naofumi's protection. Raphtalia is moved by the fact that the children in the village do not experience the same tragedy as her because of her and Naofumi's assistance, which enables her to find purpose in life. Following that, Naofumi uses the award money to pay the slave merchant for a magic egg. Several different magical pets, even strong pets like dragons, can hatch from the magic eggs. Unfortunately, Philolial, another potent magical pet, hatched from Naofumi's magic egg instead of a dragon. Naofumi names the Philolial Philo and takes her on adventures ever since. As Philo is growing up quickly, Naofumi will soon be able to ride her on adventures. Naofumi is even more surprised to see that Philo is changed into a female with wings when he wakes up that morning. It turns out that Philo, who possesses more potent magical abilities and can change into a human, is the queen of Philolial. Naofumi visits a village sometime later. Practically everyone in this area has become infected with the plague. As Naofumi happens to have medicine on hand, many of the villagers heal after purchasing it from him. Yet according to Naofumi, administering medication only improves some of the villagers' health. To fully eradicate the disease, he also has to stop its source. The local doctor informs Naofumi that while the sword hero killed a nearby dragon a month prior, he neglected to dispose of the monster's carcass. The dragon's carcass released a potent poison as it decayed. But the villagers do not dare to dispose of the carcass since there are numerous monsters in the dragon's lair, which finally causes the plague. Naofumi visits the dragon's lair after learning about this. He doesn't anticipate the dragon's carcass moving at all. Once transforms into a zombie dragon, the deceased dragon attacks Naofumi. While attempting to save Naofumi, Philo gets swallowed up by the zombie dragon. For the first time, Naofumi is so enraged that he activates a brand new talent called the Cursed Shield. When Naofumi uses this ability, he may unleash devastating assaults but suffers from temporary insanity. Naofumi uses the Cursed Shield to inflict damage on the zombie dragon before regaining his senses in Raphtalia's arms. Because of her interaction with Naofumi, Raphtalia is cursed. Luckily, Philo is still alive. She finds the magic stone in the belly of the zombie dragon, and after taking the magic stone, the zombie dragon is killed. Naofumi ends the plague, but Raphtalia falls ill from the curse. Naofumi has to purchase holy water from the city's church in order to treat Raphtalia's illness. Before leaving the village, Philo offers the zombie dragon's magic stone to Naofumi, who absorbs it and gains a potent attack skill. Naofumi and his companions encounter a little girl as they travel back to the capital. This young girl really adores Philo. When she learns that Philo can become human, she is even happier. Naofumi then learns that the little girl, Melty, is separated from the family guards on her way back to the capital. Thus, Naofumi decides to accompany Melty to the capital. Melty and Philo become close friends. Melty gets accustomed to resting in Philo's feathers at night. Soon, the journey is over and Naofumi returns to the capital, where he says goodbye to Melty and takes Raphtalia to the church. Even though the members of the church despise Naofumi, they nonetheless sell him holy water in an effort to soothe him. When Naofumi encounters the hero of the spear, he has just left the church. The spear hero has always regarded Naofumi as a villain, so when he learns that Naofumi and Philo have entered the city, he assumes that Naofumi has abducted Philo. The spear hero battles Naofumi once more, inflicting harm on several nearby residents. There are soldiers who want to stop the duel, but Melty claims that the duel is approved by the king. At this time, Melty suddenly appears, and she orders the soldiers to stop the duel immediately. That's when Naofumi learns that Melty turns out to be Malty's sister, the other princess of Melromark. Later, Philo transforms into Philolial in front of the hero of the spear, revealing to him that she is not a human female. Naofumi is immediately hesitant to trust Melty after finding out who she is. Naofumi has previously been falsely accused by the king and Melty, making him suspicious of the royal family. Yet, Melty is actually closer to the queen, and the queen has no grudge toward the shield hero. After a lot of effort, Naofumi's level has now reached the top of the current profession. They need to go to the church's hourglass to get promoted if they want to keep leveling up. The hourglass serves as both Waves timer and an advertising tool. But, the church is informed by the king that Naofumi cannot be advanced. Furious, Naofumi exits the church and inquires with the slave dealer about alternative means of leveling up. The slave dealer informs Naofumi that he may go to other countries that have the same hourglass in order to complete it. Nevertheless, since visiting other countries takes a lot of time and the following waves are just a few days away, Naofumi has to drop the plan. In order to slightly improve the team's fighting effectiveness, he has to purchase certain equipment. The waves haven't even arrived, yet Naofumi already has a sizable following. They are prepared to assist the shield hero since they are aware of his virtue. With everything ready, Naofumi takes on the second waves. Naofumi orders his followers to support the nearby villagers in fending off the monsters based on the knowledge he has gathered from the previous waves. It just so happens that the locals include a few retired who are likewise capable of defending the village. When Naofumi notices the villagers are secure, he leaves the village and travels to the boss's location, a floating boat. Now, the other three heroes are engaged in battle with the boss minions, but the boss does not materialize no matter how many times they succeed in taking down these subordinates. The three heroes argue and even quarrel among themselves while fighting. They don't stop bickering till Naofumi shows up. When Naofumi examines the boss ship more closely, he notices some odd shadows. Everyone attacks these shadows until the boss emerges. Unfortunately, this boss resembles a creature that has taken the shape of a soul, and aside from Naofumi, the other three heroes' attacks appear to only cause minimal damage. The boss will eventually be defeated even if they keep fighting in this way. But, Naofumi chooses to use the cursed shield once more because of concern that the fight would last too long and the villagers won't be able to repel the other monsters. Naofumi's cursed shield gains power after ingesting the zombie dragon's magic stone, but it also causes the cursed shield's side effects to intensify. Everyone pitches in to combat the boss and by some time as Naofumi loses his mind as a result of side effects. The boss is subsequently put to death by Naofumi using a steel cage. The other three heroes are so taken aback that they didn't anticipate Naofumi to suddenly surpass the other three in strength. The fact that there are several bosses and the second boss unexpectedly emerges on the ship further surprises everyone. The boss is slain by a mystery lady named Glass in the next instant, as Naofumi is the only other hero who can compete with Glass, who is obviously the strongest of all the heroes. Glass confronts Naofumi right away. Glass informs Naofumi that their fight will be the final fight of the waves. Naofumi understands how strong Glass is, thus he won't be attacking recklessly. Glass effortlessly beats the other heroes that attempt to fight her. Next, Glass hits Raphtalia, but Naofumi uses his shield to deflect the blow. Taking advantage of the situation, Philo and Raphtalia begin to fight back, but Glass is unaffected by their attacks. Again, Naofumi must utilize the cursed shield to combat Glass, but it is powerless against her. To put an end to the duel and eliminate Naofumi, she effortlessly crushes the steel cage. As Naofumi learns that Waves is going to end due to the boss death, he decides to ride Philo and flee. Glass vanishes along with the end of the waves, as Naofumi surmises. This time, the waves don't inflict any significant harm, and the nearby people make it out alive. Naofumi is aware that the world would certainly annihilate if he is murdered by Glass before the following waves arrive. Therefore, he must strengthen himself in advance. The king now dispatches a messenger to bring Naofumi to him. Not only does he not award Naofumi, but he also asks why he has suddenly grown more powerful than the others. Naofumi is enraged and is no longer afraid of the king at this point. The king is informed by Naofumi that he may now assassinate the king and drive out all of the troops to depart the capital. He also warns the king not to impede him any longer if he wants to live. When the king learns this, he is incensed, but he can only put up with it. Naofumi then leaves Melromark to prepare for leveling up in other countries. Shortly after, Melty chases Naofumi, wanting to fix the relationship between the royal family and him. When Naofumi is ready to object, he learns that the troops who are pursuing Melty are out to kill her. Melty is quickly shielded by Naofumi. These soldiers immediately run away and slander that Naofumi kidnaps Melty. Soon, the news of the Shield Hero's kidnapping of the princess spread throughout the country. Naofumi and his companions are all wanted. Melty speculates that it was Malty who ordered the troops to assassinate her, and if she succeeds, Malty will become the heir to the throne, and if she fails, the troops will slander Naofumi for kidnapping her. If Melty returns to the palace now, she will definitely be killed by Malty, and Naofumi suggests that Melty follow him to another country. During the journey, Melty tells Naofumi that her mother is actually the true leader of the Melromark kingdom. Because her mother was a queen, she had more power than the king. The queen was friendly to the shield hero, but she has to hide temporarily due to the framing of the church. At this time, they suddenly hear the sound of the troops marching. Naofumi guesses that the troops must be pursuers and immediately flees. On the edge of a cliff, pursuers catch up with Naofumi. The other three heroes are also in the troops. Melty tries to explain to them that Naofumi did not kidnap her and that everything is a plot by Malty. But Malty says that Naofumi possesses a brainwashing shield, and everyone who talks to him will be brainwashed. The stupid spear hero believes Malty's words, and the two sides begin to fight. In the end, the two end in a draw, and Naofumi breaks the road, causing the pursuers to be unable to chase after them. Before leaving, Naofumi asks the sword hero to figure out the truth instead of believing Malty's lie. After Naofumi and the others flee to safety, the queen's agent appears in front of them. On behalf of the queen, the agent invites Naofumi to meet the queen. Just then, the forest suddenly catches fire, and it turns out that Malty sets fire to the forest in order to find Naofumi. Even so, the pursuers still can't find Naofumi. Angry, Naofumi eventually decides to go back to see the queen, vowing to make Malty pay. Naofumi's party carefully moves in the forest and hasn't been discovered. They are getting closer and closer to the capital of the Melromark kingdom. But on the way, there is an outpost, and they have to pass it before entering the capital. The spear hero is already guarding here, waiting for the arrival of Naofumi. Naofumi is able to easily defeat the spear hero, but he wants to convince the spear hero to believe in him. To his surprise, the spear hero attacks him. The spear hero also accuses Naofumi of killing the sword hero and the bow hero. Naofumi wants to explain, but the spear hero doesn't give him a chance, and then they fight fiercely. The spear hero is inferior in combat experience and skills to Naofumi, but Naofumi has not been promoted, so his level is lower than the spear hero's. The companions of the spear hero are also higher in level than Naofumi's companions. In the ensuing battle, Naofumi's side gradually gains the upper hand. They have much more combat experience than the Spear Heroes team. In the end, Philo and Melty create a more powerful magic with magics of different attributes and successfully defeat the team of the Spear Hero. But the battle is not over. Suddenly, Philo senses the danger and reminds Naofumi to defend against attacks from the sky, so Naofumi summons many shields. In the next second, a meteorite rain falls from the sky. Fortunately, Naofumi has made preparations in advance, so no one is killed by the meteorite rain. At this time, the Pope appears in front of them. It turns out that the attack just now was sent by the Pope. Malty is surprised because the Pope was originally her ally. But in fact, the Pope just wants to use Malty to eliminate Naofumi. Based on the doctrine, the church ostracizes demi-humans, while the shield hero is very kind to demi-humans. So the Pope has wanted to get rid of Naofumi since the beginning. All the conspiracies that happened to Naofumi were caused by the church. This time, the Pope brings a large number of members of the church, and he intends to kill Naofumi and the others here, and then summon the four heroes again. Although the Pope is not very powerful, he can make other believers provide mana. Through the mana of these people, the Pope can cast extremely powerful magic. Naofumi can only constantly summon his shields to fend off the Pope's attacks, but there are so many believers who can provide a lot of mana, while Naofumi's mana is limited. Just as Naofumi is in a tough fight, the reinforcements suddenly appear. They are the Sword Hero and the Spear Hero, who were attacked by the assassins sent by the Pope, and the Pope spreads rumors that they had been killed by Naofumi. After the Sword Hero and the Spear Hero defeated the assassins, they rush to help Naofumi. Now they finally understand that Naofumi has always been wronged. But they don't apologize to Naofumi, much to Naofumi's anger. The other three heroes believe that all this is a misunderstanding, and the cunning Pope is the culprit. Naofumi believes that their stupidity and arrogance are also the reasons why he was wronged. They then begin to quarrel, and it seems that they won't join forces, so the Pope takes this opportunity to attack again. Naofumi summons a shield to block the attacks. Seeing this, everyone stops arguing. They know they can refuse to consider each other friends, but they must fight together temporarily to defeat a common enemy. At the same time, the Queen also launches a counterattack against the church, and she leads an army, rushing towards Naofumi. In order to trap Naofumi and the others, the Pope creates a large magic barrier to trap them inside. Everyone begins to attack the Pope, who is soon injured. However, outside the barrier, believers are able to heal the Pope instantly with healing magic. Ordinary attacks seem to be unable to cause harm to the Pope. So Naofumi decides to use the cursed shield to fight the Pope. He then loses his mind and goes into a powerful but crazy state. However, under the call of his companions, Naofumi gradually regains his senses. He covers his teammates with his shield to attack the Pope, and the Sword Hero and the Spear Hero successfully wound the Pope. But the Pope soon recovers from his injuries, and he begins to fight back with stronger magic. Naofumi and the others gradually run out of their mana, and they are likely to lose the battle. Just then, the Queen and her army arrive, and the Queen freezes the Pope with magic. Naofumi takes the opportunity to summon a steel cage that devours the Pope. When the believers outside see the Pope dead, they all surrender. Naofumi wins the final victory, but he faints because of exhaustion. The Queen immediately orders an all-out effort to rescue Naofumi. Naofumi is seriously injured because the cursed shield has a very strong side effect, and he has to rest for a while. After Naofumi wakes up, the Queen immediately apologizes to him. She told Naofumi that he had been treated unfairly before because the king had been used by the church. Now that the church has been punished, it is time to punish the king in Multi. The next day, the Queen publicly brings the king in Multi to trial, which is witnessed by the whole country through magic, because the king in Multi framed Naofumi, made him treated unfairly, and even tried to kill him many times. The Queen sentences them to death. Naofumi is somewhat surprised by the verdict. Although he hates the king in Multi, he does not want to kill them. So during the execution, Naofumi stops the executioner. He decides to punish them in a different way. Since then, both the king and Multi have been stripped of their names and given insulting nicknames. The Queen immediately agrees to Naofumi's request. In fact, she also doesn't want to see her husband and daughter executed. After this, Naofumi leaves the palace and goes to the next area to continue his adventure. This time, no one sees him as a bad guy, and everyone knows that Naofumi is the real hero. They treat him with the highest level etiquette and send him away. Naofumi first comes to the hourglass, and this time no one hinders him and his partner from completing their promotion. Naofumi, Raphtalia, and Philo have all been promoted to professions with higher levels, and their attributes have been greatly improved. Later, Naofumi will travel to an island with 3 other heroes, because special areas will appear on the island these days, and they can gain double experience points if they kill monsters in these areas. On the boat to the island, Naofumi meets 2 adventurers. The male adventurer is a powerful warrior who excels at using the scythe, while the female adventurer is a magician who excels at using gem magic. They are very kind and cheerful, and Naofumi quickly becomes friends with them. Soon after, the boat arrives at the destination. This time, in addition to Naofumi and his companions, there are many adventurers who come to the island, and all of them want to gain more experience points. In this case, if they can team up with more people, they will be more efficient in gaining experience points. So the 2 adventurers invite Naofumi to be in one team. Naofumi thinks they can be good teammates and agrees to their request. Then they begin to fight the monsters on the island. Naofumi discovers that even weak monsters are able to provide a lot of experience points, so they quickly increase their levels. But Naofumi suddenly discovers that he can't gain experience points anymore. At this time, the bow hero appears beside him. It turns out that the heroes cannot get too close, otherwise, they will not be able to gain experience points. So Naofumi changes locations to continue fighting monsters. By the evening, they have gained a lot of experience points and materials. After the two adventurers meet Naofumi in the evening, they go to the tavern for dinner. Naofumi makes an appointment with them to fight stronger monsters together next time. The next day, Naofumi goes to another island with them. The monsters here are powerful, but the two adventurers are stronger. They easily defeat a large number of monsters. This surprises Naofumi very much, because their strength even surpasses that of the other three heroes. After a day of fighting, Naofumi is convinced that they are not ordinary adventurers, but they have good characters, which makes Naofumi feel very gratified. After that, Naofumi says goodbye to them. Because they fight for several days, Naofumi decides to take a break with his companions. But while they are having a rest by the sea, Philo suddenly sees a mysterious relic at the bottom of the sea. Naofumi then dives with his companions to the bottom of the sea, and they are surprised to find that there is also an hourglass. Besides, the hourglass countdown shows that there will be a wave on this island in 2 days. In response to this wave, the queen quickly organizes an army. Everyone is on a battleship and waits at sea for the wave to come. Naofumi notices that the two adventurers have also appeared at sea, but their expressions look slightly strange. Soon, the wave comes, and many monsters appear in the sky. It is not very difficult for the army to deal with these monsters since they've already made preparations. The soldiers throw spirits into the sea, and many monsters fall into a state of drunkenness when they enter the water, causing their combat power to be weakened. This time, the boss is a strange fish with horns, and it is seemingly not affected by spirits. Naofumi is responsible for luring the strange fish, while the others attack it. But their attacks can't destroy the carapace of the strange fish. At the same time, some fishmen among the monsters begin to attack, and Melty is almost dragged into the sea by the fishmen. At the critical moment, the two adventurers save Melty, and then they work together with Naofumi to kill the boss. However, after killing the boss, the battle is not over, and the real battle has just begun. The two adventurers suddenly declare war on Naofumi and the others. It turns out that they are also heroes, but they come from another world. The male adventurer is the vassal scythe hero. The female adventurer is not a hero, but a teammate of the vassal scythe hero. Their world has also been affected by the wave, and the way to stop the wave is to defeat the hero of the other world. The vassal scythe hero is very powerful, and he easily defeats other heroes outside of Naofumi. They then fight against Naofumi. Although they are friends, now they have to be enemies for the sake of their respective worlds. After a fierce fight, the two end in a draw. Glass then also joins the fight. It turns out that she is the vassal fan hero, one of the teammates of the vassal scythe hero. In their last battle, Naofumi was almost defeated by Glass, but luckily, he managed to escape. This time, he cannot escape again. Glass is stronger than last time, but Naofumi has greater progress. Naofumi has his companions deal with the vassal scythe hero, while he fights against Glass. After Naofumi gets promoted, his shield has a new ability capable of devouring the opponent's mana. Glass' ability is to use life points as mana, so her magic is very powerful. However, Naofumi's new skill happens to surpass Glass' ability. Even so, Glass still ends in a draw with Naofumi, so she decides to cast one of her strongest skills to exhaust her life points. After Glass casts this skill, either she or Naofumi will die. Just then, the bow hero's teammate, Rishia, gives Naofumi an assist. She throws numerous spirits into the sky, and Naofumi immediately breaks the barrel. Glass is instantly drenched in spirits, and she falls into a drunken state and ultimately fails to cast her strongest skills. Later, the wave ends, and the battle between Naofumi and the heroes from another world hasn't decided the winner. But everyone knows that in the next wave, the heroes of another world will appear again. After this battle, Rishia is ostracized by her teammates for helping Naofumi, so Rishia joins Naofumi's team, and she will get a magic tattoo and become a member of Naofumi's harem. After this wave, the queen, in order to reward Naofumi, intends to give him a territory. Instead of choosing a fertile area, Naofumi chooses a barren one because this place is the home of Raftalia. It was destroyed in a wave, and many demi-humans lost their homes. Naofumi intends to rebuild the place so that more demi-humans can live happily ever after. When Naofumi first arrived in this world, he lost everything, but now, he takes everything he deserves with his efforts. Next, Naofumi will embark on his journey to protect this world and his companions. That brings the end of The Rising of the Shield Hero Season 1. Naofumi finally finishes his revenge. Perhaps some people think that Naofumi is too kind, and he shouldn't let the king and Multi go but make them executed. But I think one of the reasons why Naofumi can successfully take revenge is that he is a kind and gentle man. If he isn't, he won't get help from so many people. So I can understand why he chose not to kill the king and Multi, and that's why I like the character of Naofumi and this story. If you also like this anime, please like and subscribe. If you want to see more recaps of this anime, comment below to tell me. See you in my next video.